Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ancient Tools for Modern Living. I am your host, Sipora Gerson-Miller. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and certified yoga therapist and therapeutic yoga teacher here in Atlanta, Georgia. For those of you that are new around here, welcome. I'm super excited that you're here. This podcast is dedicated to promoting and supporting mental health in all stages, from awareness to recovery, through practical yoga, lifestyle, and spiritual growth. So here you'll find a variety of information on some of the deeper teachings of yoga, and there are different applications to various mental health challenges, including, we're going to talk about meditation, we talk about mindfulness, we talk about holistic lifestyle, nutrition, psychology, and all of the little moving parts that can help to support somebody who is struggling with a mental health illness or a mental health challenge. It's got a lot of useful information here that can help you or a loved one or somebody that you know that may be struggling as well. I will always include links in the show notes with national hotline numbers that you can call and access resources in your area. But it's real important to seek out help if you are suffering. So we were not meant to do this alone, so there is help available. So today, my guest is a wonderful woman and yogi. Her name is Anne-Marie Johnston. She is originally from Atlanta, but she is currently living in Australia. She is a yoga teacher, an entrepreneur, a marketing professional, and a mom to 2 young sons. She's the founder of YogaMate, which is a global digital platform that connects yoga teachers with their students and empowers home practice. YogaMate provides class and sequence planning, marketing tools, and resources that help yoga professionals better differentiate themselves, connect with and inspire their clients and community, and extend their reach beyond their local market. YogaMate's mission is to help expand the public's understanding of the depth, breadth, and therapeutic application of yoga. And Anne-Marie's personal goal is to see yogic tools become part of the national school curriculum around the world. So Anne-Marie is, I think, at least one of the biggest global influencers I know. And I agree with her that yoga has such a powerful therapeutic potential, and that we need to start integrating it more comprehensively into school curriculum, into our general society in general. So with that said, I met Anne-Marie at the yoga therapy conference a couple years ago, and I just found her to be just a really interesting lady with a really interesting message and mission, and she's just doing a lot to help sort of consolidate all of this information in one central place. So as far as I know, YogaMate is really the largest platform that exists in the world that has just a lot of resources for yoga professionals who are working therapeutically, and that goes as well for people who are seeking out resources for themselves. So if you go on yogamate.org, and I'll drop a link in the show notes, you'll be able to find yoga resources for just about any mental or physical health condition that you can think of. So without further ado, here is my interview with Anne-Marie, her story of how she sort of came up with the idea for YogaMate, and just a little bit more about her. So for those of you listening, I have Anne-Marie Johnston on the phone, and she's joining us from Melbourne, Australia. And I met Anne-Marie at the conference, the International Association of Yoga Therapy Conference in Newport Beach, California. And Anne-Marie is such an invaluable resource to our community, not just yoga teachers, but yoga therapists, healthcare professionals, yoga students, anybody who is interested in learning about all of the ways that yoga can help improve a person's health and well-being. And it's such a truly invaluable global online resource that anybody can access in the world, which is what I think makes it so unique. So, and she's a pretty amazing businesswoman too. So, even in the 10 minutes that we had that little, I think it was like speed dating where we were like going around, I mean, I learned so much about marketing just in that 10 minutes. So, yeah. So can you tell our listeners just like a little bit about your own yoga journey?
Yeah, absolutely.
For example, what drew you to the practice and in what ways has it changed your life?
I sure can. Yeah. So, well, firstly, thank you so much for, asking me to come on and have a chat with you. It's nice to share a little bit about my story and a little bit about YogaMate. So, look, my very first time I stepped into a yoga class was in 2002, and I walked out of it and thought, there's an hour of my life I will never get back. So talking about, having the right experience for the right student, like I think my class was at the local YMCA type place, and it was definitely geared towards an older client set. And maybe I could have done it a little bit better, but I remember thinking I didn't feel any stretch, I didn't feel any strength, and of course I think at that point in time I was very much looking for more of an exercise. That was my understanding of yoga. And so it was probably another few years before I tried it again, and this time it was at a younger gym, and it was more aligned. It was probably a more power style yoga class, but I still enjoyed the stretching and the relaxation part of it, which was small, but, enough to, pique my interest. And, I was doing that, not very diligently, just maybe once a week, maybe once every other week. It was just kind of an addition to my exercise schedule more than anything. And then in 2008, I took a course that was a pranayama-based course. And they didn't use the word yoga. I didn't realize that the breath work was yoga, but this course just really spoke to me. It was the first time I was encouraged to try to quiet the monkey mind. I didn't know that term. I'd never been encouraged to stop and try to just be. Like that instruction alone was so transformative. It was like, oh my gosh, wait, I can actually stop all this noise, this constant chatter in my mind. And I really threw myself into that breathwork practice. And following up from that course, which was a week-long course, they had kind of a part 2, and they also ran some yoga classes. And so I began to realize that, you could do this breath work and some asana related, and it kind of worked together. But for me, more than anything, it was like, oh my gosh, wow, this breath is inextricably linked to, the way that you move your body, and there's so much power in the breath. And so that was really kind of the turning point for me. So I went and got some books on yoga from the library and then ordered some on Amazon and really developed my own home practice. And I think I stopped going to the gym. Like it was just purely me. And like, every day during my lunch break, I would go into a spare room at my office and do my pranayama practice. It was a Kriya practice, and do some asana and end with a progressive muscle relaxation. And I just thrived on it. It changed my relationships. It changed my health and well-being. Everything, and I mean, obviously no magic bullet. This was over a long period of time, but I got to the point where I realized that, so I'd had persistent depressive disorder for over half of my adult life, and I was taking medication for it. And one day I realized, I'm not depressed anymore. Why am I still taking this medicine? And then when I started reflecting on other aspects of my ill health that I had, I had IBS and intense migraine, or not migraines, but really intense headaches, and strong allergies and some menstrual, stuff. And all of it had really improved, if not gone away entirely. And so I was reflecting on this, thinking, what is it about this yoga that has made all these shifts happen? And so that was what impelled me to go on and do my yoga teacher training. So I enrolled in a 500-hour course in 2012, purely for self-knowledge, absolutely no intention to teach. In fact, I told my then partner, I'm not going to teach when this is over. I just want to learn more. But halfway through the course, I thought, my gosh, this is so powerful. It's my responsibility to share this. Like, it would be wrong of me to keep this information to myself. And so that's kind of, to bring me full circle, I started teaching. I had this idea for YogaMate. My learning continues. I'm constantly enrolling in more workshops and more trainings and courses. So I just think it's an amazing journey, and there's so much value in it's great to have found my Dharma. I guess I feel like I'm on my path, and this is what I'm meant to be here doing. But like my background was marketing, and so it pulls it all together well, because I can bring in that business and marketing skill set, and then bring yoga to the broader community. So
that is, I mean, I love how you sort of go from, a person struggling with all of these health challenges, both physical and mental, and then are now sort of using all of that knowledge that you acquired from a yoga teacher training, and then sort of repurposing your original sort of training, which I think is really, I think that when we look at Dharma, that is that moment where you step back and you go, okay, now I get how the pieces fit together. And I hear that a lot from people, how when they finally just kind of get out of their own way, and they really can see how all of their skills sort of merge and coalesce and become this sort of interdependent framework. So can we talk a little bit about how you arrived at the idea for YogaMate? Just how you arrived at the vision for it, and because I know a lot. If you go on the website, it talks a lot about the purpose and the vision. About is yoga being an accessible modality for all to practice, and so just would love to hear a little bit more about how that vision helps guide your work.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So the actual idea, the seed of the idea, because it's become much more than that, the original seed, came to me during a meditation. Actually, it was only about a year, not quite, after I'd finished my yoga teacher training. And I was meditating one morning, and it was like, bing, what if you created this app? And at that point in time, it was just an app idea to allow me to track my teaching and kind of pull together the resources, like information around the poses and the practices that I could refer to quickly. I was thinking about, when being a new teacher at that point in time, when someone comes into my class and they present with an injury or a health concern that I'm not versed in, and even with my 500 hours, I didn't feel like if someone came in and said, I have low blood pressure, I didn't feel like I had the ability to extract from my cloud the knowledge of which poses, which practices were contraindicated for that I needed to be avoiding for her. And I really felt this concern about ensuring that my students were safe in the practice. And so when I had this idea, I thought, okay, well, I wonder if there's anything on the market that's out there like that. So I started researching it and thought, okay, there were a few kind of stick figure sequence planners. And I thought, having not come from that lineage where you use the stick figures, it didn't even as a yoga teacher make that much sense to me. And I thought, well, if we had images of the people doing it, then that would help empower people to practice from home. Like once they're working with a teacher, they would be able to, then take the practice home that they'd gone through and have a guidance for it. Because really, I look at my own journey and think the main reason I had my health and well-being benefits was because of the consistency of my home practice. It wasn't because I was attending a once a week or twice a week yoga class. And so I was like, okay, how can I create that for students to be empowered to to practice from home with their teacher? And so then when I explored that a little bit more, I thought, well, I can't possibly cover all of the variations and modifications of the poses if I provide this kind of initial offering of some of the base poses. That's good, but if they can then take pictures from their own phone, then you can craft any kind of plan. And if you could do that, let's add in audio and video. And it kind of went from there. And so then when I began scoping out what it would actually look like, and at that point in time, it was still kind of those three areas. It was going to be the ability to create drag and drop plans. It was going to be the ability to customize the plans. And then it was going to be the ability to search through the practices for contraindications and cautions. Well, so once I started speaking to a few people in the industry, like I took on a business coach and was, bouncing ideas off and had also begun reaching out to a few kind of key people in the Australian yoga industry that I thought might be able to think about the idea from a more learned perspective, people who really were ensconced in the industry and could say, did it seem to make sense to them? Was there value in it? And so one individual in particular, his name's Lee Blaschke, who is an amazing yoga therapist and was then the president of Yoga Australia. I got the opportunity to bend his ear, and he was excited about what I was doing, and he really opened up a lot of doors for me. And we created a panel of advisors so that we could, really make sure that it was going to meet the needs of teachers and therapists alike, and that it was sound and it was high quality. And that decision, which thanks to my business coach, like I don't know that I would have considered doing that without her guidance or her suggestion on that. Yeah, so once I had that kind of idea and I started kind of looking at more at the yoga therapy, I thought, well, if the teacher's going to create the plans, we should probably just provide a directory so people can find the teachers as well, that specialize in different areas. And, if we're going to have that, maybe we should have information about the, yoga for people with anxiety or yoga for people with lower back pain. And I thought, my goodness, how am I going to create all of that content? But I'm interested in it personally for myself. And I thought, well, if I, gosh, it's going to take me a long time to do that. And then it hit just like I was doing an iRest teacher training, and it like popped in my head. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to connect with the subject matter experts around the world that are already working in this space and that can share their knowledge. And so I put the feelers out, and once people started coming on board with that idea, it really shifted towards, this more therapeutic focus. So in the end, it's all about helping to expand the public's understanding of the depth and breadth of the practice, the therapeutic application of it, to get them to think more outside of the box, that yoga isn't just what you do at the gym. It's not just an exercise, that it's this really holistic, integrative health modality that you can add in as either an adjunctive part of your treatment plan for something, or just to help maintain your general health and well-being, and kind of a preventative type of treatment's not the word, but just preventative health.
Right. Well, and I think that, and when you talk about, the team of advisors and people that you consulted with, I mean, when you look at the website and you see their photographs, I mean, they really are, when you are, ensconced in the yoga therapy world, I mean, those really are the leaders and the pioneers, and those are the wells of our, of our scope of practice and knowledge. So they really are our world's leading experts, So, I mean, if the information on there is definitely really rooted and grounded in solid research and scientific evidence. And that's one thing that I really love about when you put out your feelers for, articles. And, I love that you always, really make it a point to say, and, please, sort of be mindful of the scientific evidence and, really wanting to have that solid evidence base, because that is so important. And I think that's what really differentiates and distinguishes it from, just anybody saying and doing whatever they want, because then, we can harm people in that way if it's not really rooted and grounded in some kind of scientific, evidence. So I think that's.
Yeah. It's interesting, because when I was, coming up with the idea of having these health benefit pages, I thought, okay, well, I can get the teacher to create a kind of a general article, and I'll have them share a plan that's an example. I mean, obviously nothing prescriptive, but it's more just to get people to think outside of the box. Like, oh gosh, can you use yoga for chronic pain? Can you? I mean, that's one of the more standardly accepted ones, but can you use yoga for schizophrenia? Can you use yoga for fibromyalgia? Can you use, and on and on. And, at the moment, there are about 50 different pages that these individuals have worked towards. And I thought, well, but I really want like some of the best evidence that's already out there to be supporting that. And then, wouldn't it be great if they could provide a case study for, examples of how they worked with people, and then other blogs. And, it became quite a monster of a project, and it certainly is still very much a growing resource. And I think I look forward to seeing where it is a year from now compared to now. I mean, I think it's quite robust now, and there's probably 500 different articles and, data sitting there, but that will just continue to grow as we go. And at this point in time, I'm actually in the process of bringing on an editorial team to help ensure that, the quality of what goes on the site is still where we want it to be, and just to help me manage the project or the business better, because it's getting to the point where, up until now, it has just been myself and my technical team and my panel advisors, but I really need more kind of people managing the content, and that's a great place to be.
Yeah, it's growing, and it's going to just keep growing, as the field grows. And, I love that you can also, I sometimes send my clients there, if they have their sort of hesitation or they want to learn more, I say, go on YogaMate. You can find a lot of information about your particular condition and read about it there. It's a trustworthy source. So I'm always sending people there. So you talked a little bit about case studies and articles. Is there any other information people can find there? Because this isn't just for, this is for healthcare practitioners of all disciplines and fields who want to gain more information.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess if you walk through the front end, so there's two sides to it. There's the public interface, and there's the professional back end. So from a public perspective, there's the directory and the ability to find teachers and therapists that specialize in specific areas. So you can really drill down into keywords or your location, or you can focus on people who do Skype, telehealth conferencing, or on and on. I think we're going to maybe bring in mentorship there as well to come. And then you move along and you can learn about the different health challenges. Then there's just general information about the different yogic tools. So, it delves into the asana, the pranayama, meditations and relaxations, a little bit about what yoga therapy is about, and also just accessible yoga in general, like or making yoga more adaptive. So that sits there. And then there are the example plans that we have, and all the case studies and the research and articles. And we also have a bit in there that's on the business of yoga for marketing professionals. If you want to get in and have a bit of a marketing background, and that will continue to expand as well. Then if you go into, so that's all on the front end. And then on the back end for the professionals, it's the tools, it's the ability to create your plans, whether that's a fully customized, what I've called the individual planning tool, or if you have the drag and drop where you can quickly create from the 900 plus images that I provided in there. And we've had a partnership with a few different yoga therapists to create what I've called like plug-in packs. So not everyone needs restorative yoga, but a lot of teachers do want restorative poses. So Yvonne Stone Rubenstein has shared her knowledge. She's a yoga therapist and a photographer, and she came in and created a pack of restorative poses for people if they want to add that into the planning tools. And we've got corporate yoga under the works at the moment. We've got seniors yoga images coming, and I'm looking at a few other options, possibly some mudras coming soon. Yeah, so that will continue to expand as well. So, you've got the base 900 images that are provided for everyone to use, that are subscription members using the planning tools, but there'll be more coming so that teachers can have more ability to quickly create plans. But of course, there's also that, you can just upload your own images of yourself or your clients. And
it's really amazing. And for those of you that are listening who are just getting a little bit more curious, I mean, it really is an amazing platform, and it's so comprehensive. There is just so much you can do with it. And you can spend hours in there. It's like the forest behind my house with all the trails. Like, you can just spend hours and hours. I mean, it's just, there's so much information. I don't know what like the current trend in Australia is, but here in the States, more and more healthcare practitioners are getting more licensed healthcare practitioners are gaining yoga training, and they're starting to incorporate it and build it into their practices. So I think the more people that we start to get on board using, complementary and alternative modalities like yoga and meditation and breath work, I think the more we're going to need a comprehensive database for all this information. And it's people don't want to spend hours and hours trying to research and find articles online, and people are doing presentations and they need something, a couple of articles quickly, that they can use to present at the table. So can you let us know how people can get on YogaMate and kind of some of the offerings that you have? Because I really want you to talk about the kind of trial period that people can get.
Yeah, absolutely. So for yoga professionals or for students, I guess there's, again, there's these different tiers. It depends who you are and what you want to use the platform for. But yoga professionals are kind of my main focus, and they can create a free directory profile so long as you have a minimum 500 hours teacher training, and or you're a licensed healthcare practitioner or an allied healthcare practitioner with a 200-hour training. So, and we set that as a kind of benchmark, and that was a suggestion from one of my panel advisors. And we decided that because we're working in this health and well-being space, we really did want teachers to have a little bit more background in their qualifications, and to help customers find teachers that are really ensconced in this area and are continuing to upskill and whatnot. So that aside, people who fit that criteria can have a free professional account, and you can just go in and create it. When you do, you then get automatic access to all of the planning tools, the therapeutic and cautions injury search tool. And then there's some marketing tools in there as well, because we haven't talked about it, but you have the ability to self-publish blogs and articles. So those can link to your profile to help enrich the experience for site visitors to better understand who you are and what you offer and what differentiates you from, your colleagues and maybe the yoga teacher down the street. But you can also tick the little button and submit it to YogaMate to potentially be published on the site or published through our social media and our newsletter. So that makes it a bit of a marketing vehicle for yoga teachers. So all of those tools are accessible for a 10-day period for people to trial. And if they want to then continue on from that point, you choose your subscription access level. Otherwise, the trial period just ends, and then you retain your directory profile, and that's yours until you don't want it, or hopefully that doesn't happen. But, so that's there for yoga teachers. And then yoga students can go on and you can create a free account, and it just gives you access to save plans to your account. So say you are working with a teacher and they're using YogaMate, they can share plans with you digitally, or they could print them out if they wanted to, but they could share them with you digitally. And when you receive them, there's a little heart on everything. You can tick the heart, and that makes it saved to your account so that you can access that plan from your phone or from your iPad or from your computer. So it's in your hand and ready to go at any point in time. And with your free account, you can follow your teacher that you work with, and you can save up to 5 of their plans. And then if you want to save more than that, there's a small price point for students just to, basically to have the data access.
So lots of options, what you're saying, lots of options.
Yeah.
And so are you comfortable with sharing maybe some of your upcoming offerings, things that you're working on, things that are in the making?
Yeah. So we are going to be launching in the next, probably, we'll say month and a half, 2 months, a bit of a case study kind of interactive webinar series. So that will be featuring yoga therapists that are their subject matter experts in different areas. So for instance, we've just lined up the guy to do yoga for people with anxiety. So he's a doctor, and has his PhD in yoga for anxiety, and he will be providing a bit of an overview, and then there will be a chance for him to run through a case study, and then we'll actually open up the floor for people to have some interaction and with him as the guest speaker. So that's exciting. There will also be that will be interspersed with business and marketing webinars, and think I mentioned at the beginning, marketing consulting is my background, and I've had 15 plus years. We'll just stick with that in the marketing space, mainly with SMEs, small and medium enterprises. And so I'll be bringing a lot of just kind of general marketing knowledge and kind of helping people upskill and stand out, because it is a crowded market, particularly yoga therapists. You have a really unique skill set and qualifications, and it's all about like just helping the public better understand what a yoga therapist can, are, and what they can do, and how they can help you. And I think it's really important to help improve the greater public's understanding and healthcare, providers' understanding of what yoga is, what yoga therapy is, how the two are different, how they can play a part to make smart decisions when you refer on, and for students to find qualified individuals, and then help those individuals kind of really stand out and get in touch with the students in the population that really need their help. Because we all know that more and more people are referring into, more doctors are referring people to yoga, and more people are seeking yoga because their friends and family, or they've read things. But it's really important that you find the right person for you, that person with the right qualifications and skill set, and then of course there's the personality fit as well, and the style fit and everything. There's so many different elements, so it's really trying to connect teachers and students the right fit together. And then aside from the webinar, trying to think if there's anything else that I want to share just at this point in time. I think probably the webinars and the case studies are probably the most exciting thing that I'm ready to talk about. But my whole process has been very collaborative, and I'm always reaching out to get more ideas from my customer base and the people using the site. So we're always bringing in kind of new and different things. So yeah, I'd say just be on the lookout for more stuff.
Where can we find those webinars? Is it going to be on YogaMate on the website? So you just go, okay.
They will. So I'll market them through Facebook, so people,
okay.
There's YogaMate.org Facebook page, and then there's YogaMate Pro Facebook page. And I've split those two because YogaMate.org is more about interfacing with the public and just sharing the research and the articles and case studies and example plans for healthcare, for healthcare providers, for the public, and for yoga therapists. And it's all about education. Whereas YogaMate Pro, I'll talk more about the actual tools, the resource for yoga professionals, and how to use it, how to market yourself. So that I found that those kind of need to be two separate things. But I'll have, you can find out more on either of those channels. The actual web address is yogamate.org. The webinars will sit on YogaMate.org.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those, because we have formed our own little Southern Yoga Therapy Association here in Atlanta, just with all of our all 32 of us in the South. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of all saturated in Atlanta, but we've created our own little group, cool. Our own little grassroots effort, and I think something like that would be wonderful for our group, just to because that's one of the things that come up is how do we ask for what we're worth, and a lot of issues around money come up, what to ask, how do you really position yourself as something that has, value for the community. So a lot of these, just basic business things, I think, come up for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I'll also, I will mention there is I have just created the group. It's going to be called, Global Yoga Therapist and Specialist, and it's a online Sangha basically to get people together. So people like your group in Atlanta. It's a broader one, and it will allow people who are using YogaMate to share their articles, share the plans they're creating, get feedback, and then just have some of these discussions and connect with other yoga therapists and specialists around the world. So be on the lookout for that too. That's an exciting new development. So.
I love that. That's so exciting. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for giving us your time and and your wisdom and your knowledge and just your generosity and taking some time out of your day to share all of this.
No,
so it's www.yogamate.org.
Yes.
So that's the big website. And then on Facebook, people can also find it through, are these groups or are they pages?
YogaMate.org and YogaMate Pro are both pages. And
they're both pages.
And the Global Online Sangha for yoga therapists and specialists is going to be a group. So that will allow people to, post themselves and ask questions and
And do people have to have a YogaMate? Do they have to be registered through the site to be able to join the groups?
No, they do not.
No. Okay. All right. So it's just, request to join the group.
Yes.
Kind of situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will put all of that information and make that available on the website for Ancient Tools for Modern Living and on the Facebook page. So, so Anne-Marie, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with folks as, the evening turns into morning and your day turns into evening and anything else?
Well, my main thing is, look, this platform has been very much it's been a huge mission, and it's very much a heartfelt mission. And my deep down reason for doing this is I genuinely have seen what it's done for me. And I guess when I connected with the breath, I kind of felt like I was given the raw end of the stick. Like I felt like, why did I reach almost 30 years of age before I was taught to still the mind and to find my breath? And so I want to see that introduced into the national school curricula. And I think the way that that's going to happen is to get more research, more yoga and healthcare. And it's not a short-term proposition, but I'm trying to support that effort. So this vehicle that I've created is really supporting the people who see a similar vision and helping you get the word out, because I think it's a collective effort. Like, not one person can do this on their own, but together we have such a strong voice. So all I can do is encourage you to please get on there and use the platform. I mean, you can go on there and just send people there for more information. You can tag at YogaMate when you come across research or information that you think needs to be added to the site, that you think such an amazing resource that everyone should know about it. And that's really one of the reasons I'm creating this, the global Sangha is because, we all have eyes, but right now, it's me, and soon it will be my editorial team. But all of you are out there coming across amazing stuff that needs to have like a depository and a catchment. And that's what I'm trying to, do. Again, making sure it's evidence form, making sure really high quality and good information, and just having it there for people to find. So. Yeah. So use it. Yes. I plan on it. And I plan on telling everybody else I know to use it as well. So I really hope our listeners will kind of head over, have a visit, and get involved on Facebook and just our global community. Yeah.
So
fantastic.
It's really incredible. All of the work that you've done.
Thanks.
So I feel like I've met the goddess behind the curtain, It's just, but you're like, not just this, crazy man behind a curtain. I mean, you really are a truly powerful woman, and you've just created such a wonderful thing.
Oh, thank you so much.
For the world, literally.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I'm very pleased to have a chance to share it with you and your listeners. And just thank you for your interest. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And we will definitely be in touch.
Fantastic.
Okay. No. All right. No. Take care, Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Bye. All right, well, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. And I really hope that you'll go head on over to YogaMate and check it out. Like I said, there are ways that you can connect with Anne-Marie via Facebook and Instagram, and those links will be available in the show notes as well. Now, remember, guys, like I said in the beginning, and I'm going to say this again, there is no need to suffer by yourself. When you're having symptoms, when you're struggling with your mental health, isolating and not seeking help can actually increase your risk and make matters worse. So get help. right? Help is only a phone call away. There are a couple of hotlines that you'll see in the show notes, and you can call those hotlines. And if you're in a particular city or area, the hotline operators who are trained counselors can actually help you to locate services in your area. So please reach out, get help. I promise you that things can and will get better. And if you liked what you heard today, it would be really helpful. I would appreciate it so much if you could head on over to the iTunes store and leave a rating and maybe even write a review. Believe it or not, when you write a review, those ratings really help to kind of push the podcast sort of up in the ratings, and it helps other people find the podcast. So I'm so grateful for any love that you can kind of throw my way there. You can also access this podcast on my website, which is www.innerskytherapeutics.com. And you can connect with me on Instagram, which is at Ancient Tools for Modern Living, and on Facebook. Ancient Tools for Modern Living has a page as well. And if you have a question or a comment, or if there's a particular topic that you'd like to know more about, let's keep the conversation going. You can always email me at Zippora, TZIPPORAH, at innerskytherapeutics.com. So again, remember, in the teachings of yoga, we are taught that we carry our own potential for light, peace, and inner healing inside of us. So be well, be kind, and I will see you all soon. Namaste.